Hello, and welcome to a Wicked Parley. I am your host, Justin, my fellow co-host, Rose.
Hello, everybody.
And today, I have two special guests joining us for a lovely episode. One of our guests is called Aaron, and the other is called Jen. Let's say hello.
Hello, everyone.
All right, with that, I would like to first make a couple of little, busy work stuff. An update, as you guys may be interested to know, about the whole Wheel of Challenge, the sleeping on time, the benefits associated with it. Excruciating pain. It seems to be the only benefit that I've had. What about you?
I'm just in a constant state of tired, so I haven't seen anything different after like a week, so.
Yeah. I'm going to go with excruciating pain for me. Sleeping for that long is just the worst thing in the world. I wake up with so much energy, and then I will run and hurt myself, and then it's just and it's like a circle that just keeps on coming back. It's not great. Benefits seem to be non-existent. I seem to have less time in the day, so I feel less productive. So that's the updates for the Wheel of Challenge, or I'm calling it the Wheel of Pain at this point.
The Wheel of Suffering!
Indeed. And the next episode on Wednesday is going to be talking about aromatherapy. So if you guys are interested in aromatherapy, hey, check out next Wednesday. It'll be kind of fun. Mm-hmm. And tomorrow will be the first Twitch live stream where we're going to be playing Jack Party Box games. So we hope to see everyone there. And if you guys are watching this in the future, well, you missed out, and too bad. I mean, who knows? Maybe you'll catch us again.
Yep. Information's on Twitter, but for those of you who don't follow on Twitter, it's going to be at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time at Wicked Parley on Twitch.
Yeah. So, definitely come check it out. Come play some games with us. All you need is a cell phone, and I really hope you have one. Or some device, because you're watching.
It just needs to be some device you can type on and can connect to the internet. Yeah.
So, if you're watching us, you can play. Anyways, moving on. Let's go ahead and get into the topic of the evening.
Ba-da-da-da.
Yes, represented by the bears that's speaking is me, Justin. The bunny, which is, of course, Rose, who's above. And then we have Aaron with the creepy eyeballs. And Jen, represented by the cat in the upper right. So.
Meow.
What do you mean, meow? Oh, God, that was a really deep meow. I mean, did someone step on your tail or something? Jeez.
Look at the face of the cat. Doesn't it look like it's just dissatisfied with something?
It definitely looks like someone pissed in its catnip. That's for sure.
Pissed in its catnip.
Yep.
So.
Hello, Matthew. Hello, host.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. So tonight's episode is going to be the Creepy Council, where we're going to be looking at some questions and being able to identify whether or not those particular questions are creepy or not creepy. We'll begin by reading off a particular question, and then we'll each be saying what we score it 1 to 5, 1 being not creepy at all, 5 being the most creepiest thing ever. And then after we've all had a chance to sig a score, we'll be kind of cross-examining one another when it comes to the various things that we say about our particular score. And with that, let's get started with the first question.
Alright, so there are a series of houses that have been snowed in. There are a set of footsteps leading in and out of houses. After searching the area, you found a house where there are only one set of footprints leading inside. Searching further, the intruder is found hiding in a room located right next to the homeowner's bedroom, filled with stolen blankets, pillows, towels, and undergarments from the bedroom itself. Okay.
This is pretty rough. I'm just gonna say, let's hear from Jen first. What do you think? What's your score?
Yeah, I'm just gonna start this off with a solid 5.
A 5?
Because regardless of who it is...
Hold it. Don't tell us why yet.
Okay.
That comes later, after the score.
Fair. I will withhold my opinion.
Withhold thy opinion. Aaron, what's your thinking? What do you got?
I'll give it a 1.
A 1. Okay. All right. Interesting.
Okay.
Rose?
I'm gonna have to, give it a 4.
A 4. I'm gonna go with a solid 3.5, and I have good reason for this.
Okay.
All right, so
All right.
so starting with Jen, since you were so leaping in to give us your reasoning why, let's hear it.
It was the undergarments that really did it for me. Like, of all the things, like, you'd think that people would steal something a little more valuable. Like, if it's just an intruder, that's, like, if it had just been the intruder and all that, and they were just stealing, like, blankets, pillows, and towels, like, I could totally understand that if it's snowing. It's the undergarments that is like, okay, that is creepy. Like, you're basically stealing people's undergarments, and it's like there's really no point when it like it would make more sense for like coats, but
Okay.
I kind of understand the underwear, but also
So just to clarify this, Rose, the owner, the person who is stealing the bedroom filled with blankets, pillows, towels, undergarments, they're in a room adjacent to this bedroom, yes? Rose? The particular the person in question is adjacent to the room, right?
Correct. The room that they are hiding in is directly next to the bedroom belonging to the homeowner.
Oh God! I'm gonna have to change my score. I'm be honest. after hearing Jen and after understanding that, I'm gonna go to a 4. I'm gonna bump it to a 4. I think it's kind of important at this point.
I managed to sway an opinion.
You have swayed my opinion. So, Aaron,
Even if it's only half a sway.
Yeah, it's okay. So, Aaron, where are you at with this? Why 1?
Well, the reason why I give a 1, simply starting off is, I mean, there's really not a whole lot of context to this question necessarily. The main concern I would have is, why am I randomly also searching these people's houses? And if the houses are snowed in, maybe this person who is stealing the stuff is doing it based off of necessity. But if that's the case, again, why am I creeping around and looking for all these things?
So let's say hypothetically, would it change your opinion if the reason why you are there snooping is because maybe your police officer called to the scene of a crime after a person discovered another person in their home? Would that change your opinion at all?
Absolutely.
What would it change it to, score-wise, hypothetically?
Well, at that point, I would probably give it a 3 because I feel like that's more of a neutral standpoint.
Okay.
And depending on what I found out when investigating, would either raise or lower the creepy score.
I see.
Fair.
Okay, that's fair. So, Rose, what's why 4 for you?
Yeah, so the way I thought about it was I didn't really particularly care about the whole why the searching thing. But depending on how long it's been, especially with the snow, because I can't tell how long it's been since that person's been hiding because it doesn't tell you how long you've searched. It just says that there's a bunch of footprints leading out and out of other houses, but there's one house where there's just one set. Who knows how long that guy's been hiding there?
I see. Well, that is creepy.
It's a little, just a tad bit. And who knows exactly what the state of the bedroom of the room that they found him in, because if it was just thrown haphazardly, maybe he hasn't been there for a long time. If it's kind of like relatively, quote, organized, how long was that guy hiding
Oh dear God.
in there? Like, if it was just stolen blankets and pillows and stuff, that'd be like a 3. It's like one of those, oh, I'm getting robbed type of scenarios, but the more items that were getting added just kept it more and more creepy.
I see. Okay, yeah, I got you. That makes sense.
Called nah.
I had to change it to a 4 because I'm thinking to myself, like, if someone's desperate enough to break into my home and steal my undergarments, we're gonna call it underwear at this point. There's got to be some intense need, because I mean, come on now, you know what I'm saying? Like that's wrong. There's lots of things that are just like I can't. But like my underwear, come on now, like why? You don't want that.
Well, maybe he ran out of underwear and he needs to keep himself warm.
Is he also a giant? Like, is that what the deal is? Like,
If you're in that desperate of a need, do you think it really matters?
Yeah, because I think you couldn't wear it.
Well, I mean, you could
Maybe not
just
as
tie a
underwear.
knot in it or something.
Like, it could be pants.
Look. I'm telling you right now, if I stole a giant's underwear, I would use part of the underwear as underwear and the other part as a shirt.
Okay, that's fun. Yeah, that's good.
That's a good one. That's fair.
I
Can't-
feel like I agree.
If you need the items that much, you're not exactly going to be a beggar, and you're not exactly going to be a chooser about it. Now,
I still think it's creepy that, like, you know, you didn't steal my jacket, you know, you didn't steal, you know,
Oh, yeah, no,
my
no.
actual
Well,
pants, you know,
yeah, but
or like actual
you
shirt.
gotta-
You took my underwear.
You got to think about this too, right?
Okay.
What if, on that exact situation, he stole your underwear because he had already stolen jackets from other people?
Okay, that's a fair point, but I don't think it makes it any less creepy to me.
Well, no. Yeah, to you, it'd be less creepy, but like I said, until you actually know all the information, can't really be, you know, get creeped about it.
Okay, well, I'm gonna agree to disagree with you on this particular point.
He's like, do not judge a book by its cover, but the cover stole my stuff.
Yeah, well,
Fair.
that's why everyone's different, so.
Yeah, that's true. All right, well, let's go ahead and clear the score and move on to the next one.
Will do. I'll go ahead and throw the next one. Do you mind reading it while I go
Of
ahead?
course. So, I can't read it actually because you plugged.
Over here.
I can't because, yeah, all set. Don't move that.
What did you do?
I didn't do anything. I'm just moving things. Go ahead, go. Move it back now.
Technology.
Technology is fun. All right, so question 2 is family members who you haven't seen in a long period of time and are loosely blood related give you a long hug, and after that hug, gently slide their hand along the length of your arm as they break away from the hug. Creepy or not creepy? What do you think, Jen?
I'm gonna give this one a 1.
A 1. Okay. Aaron?
Honestly, I'm gonna have to go with a 2.
A 2. Okay. Rose?
I'm gonna give it a 1.5 because there's a couple of things.
I'm giving it a 5.
Oh,
Oh yeah, we're going full 5 here.
we are reading your comments, by the way. So I don't know when we'll have the time to get back to those. Maybe like after.
No, what? No, right now. Let's go ahead and
Okay.
what are the comments?
So, just quickly going back to, let me hide these real quick so they don't get in the way here.
Okay.
So, host has another thing to add on to the first scenario.
Okay.
What if there was nothing else to steal besides undies?
And that person's living a very...
And in that case, then I'm equally creeped out by the person who owns the house. it's like, hello, are you only own underwear? What the fuck? And it's snowing outside. Like, where are your parka? Where's all your shit? Like, you got like just like one pair of clothes and there's just nothing but underwear. Like, what
No. Even worse. Everything they own is made out of underwear.
Oh,
Ah.
that is next level creepy, I will say.
Well, I just imagine, like, here's the thing, like, the worst part about it is the underwear belt, because, you know, that's probably going to smell real bad.
Jesus. Congratulations, host. I think you made an already potentially creepy situation even more so.
You have next level creepy. Congratulations. All right. So back to our particular scores and the other question. I really liked the fact that Aaron bumped up his score from 1 to 2 in this particular question. So why 2, Aaron?
Well, I would say just a 2 because it's not necessarily creepy to me, because you know some people's families, even like mine per se, is they're very hands-on, so something like that wouldn't necessarily mean anything.
Okay.
And as long as I kind of understood the intent behind what they're doing, it wouldn't matter to me.
Now I have a question for you though. Okay, let's assume for a second, right, that nobody, in your family was like touchy-feely and this happened. Would that change your score?
Yeah, I'd probably put it closer to a 4 just because I'm like, why are you feeling upon me so much?
Okay. And what about you, Jen? Like when it comes to Aaron's response, do you think that that's that makes sense for you?
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, it wouldn't really change my score, to be honest, but yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, all right. Fair enough. Okay. Well, why don't you tell us why you scored the score you have?
Similar to Aaron, my family is very, we show physical affection very easily, so for me, it's not really weird for someone to kind of have a lingering touch, but I can understand it, but I also know that touch is sometimes comforting for people, and so kind of it's some people have more of a connection when they have that physical connection, but I don't know, from personal background, I don't find it too creepy.
Okay.
Some people are just more physically affectionate.
Okay, I mean, that's a fair response to have, I think. Rose, why 1.5?
Yes, at a 1.5. So it depends on a number of things. For instance, I again get the touchy-feely. I have a couple of family members that all the affection everywhere. A couple of family members that just no, it's not their thing. So it kind of depends on like which one, because if it's not a touchy-feely family member, it's like, is something wrong? What happened? What made you change? Type of scenario. Because it's like completely drastically different.
It's like
but that's more. Yeah, it's like granted that's not really creepy. That's more concerning.
Okay.
The reason it would go into creepy territory is if it was paired with some other like subtle cues, such as like, a very piercing gaze type of scenario.
Okay.
Like imagine it's just like, or like if nobody else is around and they give you this hug, either a piercing gaze or a very like leering look, or like a smirk, or like smug grin. Like that would make it kind of creepy for me.
Oh God, no.
I'm describing you making it worse.
Oh, dear God, why? Oh, okay, I'm gonna say this now. Like,
okay, while we let you calm down, we do have a couple of rankings from other people that I can read out later.
No, after this.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I'm saying like that I can read out later.
Okay. I'm gonna say this now. Like, my family, I'm not a touchy-feely family. Not really. My brother shivers whenever like I try to like hug him, and like sometimes I do this joke where like I massage his shoulder, and like he's all like weirded out. Whole family not really touchy-feely, and I honestly like very few people in this world do I allow them to even remotely touch me. So it's like no. and to me it's like if someone were to touch me and then slide their arm down my arm. First of all, I got a pretty big arm, so like that's gonna be some fucking long ass time, okay? And second of all, it's like, okay, this is really weird. Like, what the fuck do you want from me? No, leave me alone.
Why are you touching me?
That's why it's a 5, because I guess I hate being touched. That's why it's 5. I'm extremely biased.
Sure. What you consider creepy, we might not, and vice versa.
So we have some comments in the chat, right? What are people throwing up there?
Kyle has a 2, maybe a 1.5.
Okay.
That's the only ranking, but they did add a caveat.
Okay.
If no one in my family was touchy-feely, I would rate any contact as a 5, so it wouldn't matter the context.
See, I think the same way as Kyle on this guy.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I was saying too. It really like. It just depends on person to person. Like, if they're like that, then it's okay, kind of. Mm-hmm. But if they're not like that, then it might be concerning.
Yeah, and Jen, you were going to say something?
No, I was just laughing.
Oh, okay. All right.
Wow.
So,
right.
I guess we'll
Any other
additions? Yeah, we'll clear the board, and we'll move on to question 3.
Bum. All right.
So I guess I'll read it.
Yes, please.
You go to a place, finding a doll that looks exactly like you. You've never been there before. Creepy or not creepy?
Who's answering first?
I'll set the stage when it comes to this too. I'm gonna add something extra that's not onto this.
Oh,
not
no.
only have you not been there before, okay, but it's in a completely different region of the world that it's completely out of place.
Uh,
And I'm gonna start with Rose.
Yeah.
you went from 0 to 100 real quick, didn't ya? Okay. Okay. Finding a doll that looks exactly like you in a place where you've never been before, with an addition of it being an entirely different region.
Yes.
I don't have to go with a solid 4 right there.
Like, I would say, like, as an added detail, assuming you've never been to, like, Eastern Europe and you, like, only ever been in the United States, that kind of, like, level of, like, completely different region.
That complete level of separation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it change?
Not particularly.
Okay. And so I guess we'll go to Jen. What are you scoring?
I would give it a 3.
A 3. Okay. And Aaron?
Yeah, I'm also gonna give it a 3.
Okay.
Look at us.
I'm gonna give it a 2.
Alright.
All right. So
We actually have solid numbers.
why 4? Rose?
So for me, it's kind of creepy because of a doll with that much detail.
Uh-huh.
Like, you have to pay attention to a lot of detail. Like, who the heck's been staring at me that long? But, like, that's as far as the creepiness goes. It gets more concerning with the whole it's in another region of the world. Like, you find this doll.
Mhm.
It's more concerning than it would be creepy at that point, because who the heck knew my schedule to know I would go to that exact location at that exact time, and making sure I saw that doll, which is an exact replica of me, without it getting stolen? Who the heck is stalking me? Who the heck is paying this much attention to me? And what do they want from me?
But what about this? Could it be a huge coincidence? You know, like, it could be totally something entirely incidental.
Unless I've got an identical twin, I don't know.
Okay.
Because it's like, unless I have an identical twin, they'd have to not only know my schedule, know exactly who I am, where I was going,
Mhm.
how I was moving and going around and whatnot.
Mhm.
But at that point, it gets just more concerning than it is creepy. The creepiness is just paying that much attention to the doll and its recreation.
Interesting. So, let's go with Aaron this time.
Okay. So the reason why I gave my score is because I know that if I saw a doll that looked exactly like me, I would be thinking, man, someone knows how to make dolls. Okay? but then I'd also be thinking kind of on a similar train of thought to Anne's, and be like, why did they actually make it like that? It's not necessarily really creepy to me. It's more just like, why? But there is a factor of that is a lot of detail, so you obviously had to be watching me, kind of thing. But I don't know, it doesn't really bother me that much.
Fair.
Okay. Well, I'm curious to know why it doesn't bother you. Honestly, like, what part of it makes you not bothered by it?
I don't really know. It's more just the fact that I just, like, I really just don't care about that kind of thing. Even if someone was, like, watching me and just, like, made a doll that looked exactly like me, that's just not something that really bothers me, because it's not really technically affecting me directly.
Okay.
So.
All right. So, Jen, why?
Yeah.
Why score?
Well, to be honest, I'm a pretty standard individual in terms of looks. I don't really have any, like, crazy identifying factors, like brown hair, brown eyes, pale white skin. Like, it's not too hard to make a doll that looks like me. But it does bump up a few points because it says exactly like me. And there is that creepy factor of, if it does get into that much detail, that's when it starts to get creepy. But again, I'm a pretty standard individual in terms of how I look, so, you know, it wouldn't really be too weird for me to see a doll that looks exactly like me in a store, because I've, you know,
You've
certain
seen
level
a
of
Jen
privilege.
doll?
Certain level of privilege. I grew up seeing dolls that looked a lot like me growing up.
Oh
So
dear God. It's like a store full of Chuckies. It's like, no, no.
no. Thank God I don't look like a Chucky Jr.
you like wearing overalls or getting
Or,
like, red hair?
correction, right of Chucky Jr.
Okay, all right. Oh dear God.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Honestly, like for me, like I swear to you, just because like it's mildly creepy, just because there would be the thought of, you know, it would creep in my mind, how did they get the information to look like me, kind of thing. but at the same time, I would say this though, I would be kind of more impressed, like him, like, oh my God, I could use this as like I could like put this in my car and like people would think I'm driving. I would look at it as more like something I'd want to buy and then have it as a prank.
They're watching you.
God.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh, that
when you
was
put
me.
it that way, it's like, I mean, that's a 5 at that point. But like, but is there anything in the chat that perhaps maybe needs to be addressed, or I see a question from host, well, comment from host, but that's from the previous one.
Host had one for the last one,
Yeah.
which was the family members.
Yeah.
It all depends on their sexuality.
Yeah.
And then for this one, I believe, sometimes I feel like somebody's watching me. I ain't got no privacy, which is actually kind of funny considering something later.
Yeah. We all have no privacy. It's called, if you have a cell phone, you're kind of fucked.
It's cold. We all have tech.
Yeah. They know where you are.
Well, see, I personally have a radar in my leg, so they know where I am at all times.
Yeah,
Oh
you
my-
are like super being tracked down. Aaron, the bionic man.
Goodness gracious. They know where you've been. They know where you're going. Ah, I'm
All
tripping
right.
myself out. Gosh, I need to keep these voices for D&D only.
Oh boy. Clear the board.
Like for Banshees or something like that.
Indeed.
Should it... Let's see.
Clear.
How long do you want to give it before we move on to the next one?
Let's move now.
Now.
Clear the board.
Oops.
It's okay.
Didn't mean to clear that board.
That's the wrong board to clear.
Wrong. How dare
To be fair though,
I?
I'm actually kind of impressed how smoothly this is going, considering this is the first time we're having, you know, multi-guest on. So, I mean, that's kind of cool.
It is a council of
I
wicked
mean-
Parlians.
I can make it worse if you want.
No, thank you.
No. No, thank you.
No,
Uh-uh.
we're gonna opt out of that one. Okay, so roll on to question 4.
Sure, but I actually did give enough time for somebody to make a comment on this particular scenario, actually.
Okay.
Let's see. Kyle, I don't get creeped out easily. If someone watched me, I wouldn't be creeped out. I would be worried they were going to put me in a red room.
Okay.
Okay.
No, thank you.
Just gonna...
All right, so question 4. The thought that people could spy on you when shopping, using the bathroom, changing clothes, in your room, etc. Creepy, not creepy. And we're going to start with me this time. I'm going to go with, that's like a 3.
Okay.
And you know what? Aaron, what do we got?
I'll say 2.5.
2.5? Okay.
Yeah.
Jen.
I'd say a 2.
A 2. Okay.
Right, and that leaves me. No, I'm not giving my score. I'm kidding. Let me think. I think I'd have to give it, let's see. I think a 1.5 at this point. No, jeez. No, not that.
Yeah, 1.56.
1.56, yes. All the
Okay.
misclicks.
Okay. All right, and you know what? We'll start off with you actually, Rose. What's the score? Why? Why 1.5?
Before I give the explanation, I just do want to remind the audience that you are free to give your rankings, and I'll be happy to read them after we give our explanations. Feel free to add any comments and whatnot before we get to that point, so that way I can read them on time. I'd love to read them out loud. Okay. Just
Somebody's
wanted
having
to get that
fun
out
with
there.
this episode.
Yes, I am. Okay, it's a lot of clicks, but it's a good click. That sounds
Okay.
like me, but spicy food. Anyway, so the thought that people could spy on me when shopping, using the bathroom, changing clothes in your room, it's kind of the reason I score it so low is because I've kind of accepted that we live in a technological age where surveillance is always going to be a thing. The only times I think it would be creepy, not the surveillance itself, but what people could potentially do with a surveillance. And it's not even that I'm doing something illegal, not that you know, at least. But it's just like, if people find it interesting, they're gonna use it for surveillance, safety reasons, but then you get the creeps.
Yeah.
Like, there's this other situation I remember from in high school, but I can explain that once we're all done here. But it's not the fact that they could spy on me that's the creepy bit. It's what they would do with that information, whether for personal reasons or like business reasons or whatever, that would potentially make it creepy.
Yeah. Honestly, like, there's a lot of problems when it comes to the world. Everything is, especially when it comes to just, women in general, there's like this whole idea, of women being kind of like hypersexualized. And so, like, the fact that people could just, spy on you, and I definitely can understand where you're coming from with the whole, what are they doing with, with what they spy on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So Jen, why a 2?
Yeah, I actually have a similar answer to Bunny over there.
Fun.
Our cell phones kind of already do this. They already monitor what we look at when we shop on Amazon or online. And even when we shop at the grocery store, if you have like a QFC or Safeway, like I think Safeway exists in where you live, but
They do.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
don't
So
turn
it's
into
like
Vons until a little bit later.
It's like a Safeway though, but it's like a Safeway card. Anytime you buy something and you put it down on your Safeway card for points, they're still monitoring what you're buying, when you're shopping. And the reason it goes up to a 2 though is, yeah, it's creepy, but it's more of a violation of privacy kind of creepy than anything else. And like Bunny over there said, it's what they're going to do with that information that I'm more worried about. But at the end of the day, what even is privacy?
Well, I mean, the fact that you question whether or not what privacy is kind of, I'll be honest, a bit disturbing, a bit concerning when it comes to that. That's scary. To be honest. Yeah, I mean, Rose's thoughts on it, I mean, I understand, and your thoughts, obviously, since you agree with her, obviously we're all in agreement that that's kind of creepy, but yeah, privacy is kind of an important thing to be able to have something that's information you keep to yourself. And, I mean, yeah, and Aaron, so what's your reasoning for it?
Yeah, so pretty much I gave it a 2.5 because generally speaking, I don't really care about privacy because I don't really do anything, and I generally don't care if someone is beeping at me because I just whatever, like
I have nothing to hide.
Well, I mean, really, I don't have anything to hide, and I mean, yeah, it might be weird in the moment, but it's like I understand kind of why someone would want to do it potentially, and it doesn't bother me. Like, and I could definitely get how it'd bother other people, but for me, it doesn't matter. Like, it really, I have nothing to hide, and there's no instance where I would generally care. I mean, the only time I probably would care is if, say, like, I was in, like, I guess, if someone was trying to sell my information to hurt me in some kind of way.
Yeah.
Like, maybe not physically, but just like in any kind of way. Like, to me, that's creepy because it directly affects me. Like, that's an important thing for me, is whether or not it pretty much affects me directly. Because if it's not really affecting my life, then I really don't care.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. But I mean, here's something I'm kind of curious about when it comes to it. At what point does it become aware? Are you aware enough for it to not affect you still, but for you to care? Like, is there an awareness of it that becomes bothersome, and that would increase your score, or is it just like doesn't matter any circumstance, blanket or not, that's just what it is?
I would say it's pretty blanketed. Like, even like aware or not, you know, some of these situations about being peeped on or looked at would definitely, they're kind of different in each aspect. So each different situation would be a different score. But that's why I'm giving the blanket response to, generally speaking, I don't care, but there are obviously exceptions to every rule.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I personally, like, the reason why I have 3 on mine is because I value privacy to a point. I'm not like a diehard, like, absolutely everything must be held secret, but like I think there are certain things that you need to keep for yourself. And if someone were to violate that, you know, spying on me in some way, shape, or form, it would really bother me, to be completely honest. Like, it would be very, very bothersome. And it would be something that would trouble me. Like, I would think about it, and I would like be rewording it through my head and kind of thinking about all the things I could have done differently, as I'm sure all of you guys who know me know I would do.
Yeah.
Goodness, so many stories, just so many stories
Yeah. So
that can turn this from like not creepy or to like barely creepy to extra creepy.
I mean, like, you had a story that you were going to share, right?
Yeah, I had one story. Do you want me to do that first, or do
Yeah,
you want
go
me to
for
read
it.
comments
Yeah,
first?
it's a serious story. Comments
Okay.
can come afterwards. That way it gives people more time.
So, Jen's response actually reminded me of a second story
Oh boy.
about surveillance. So I'll share the one that I was originally going to share.
Okay.
So there's this local pool, open every summer,
Okay.
and they always had this one. There was this deeper pool, you know, for the good swimmers to, you know, just go down to the bottom, sink up and down, tread water, all that.
Sure. Yeah. Diving boards.
So there were,
Diving boards, I'm assuming.
yeah, diving boards on one side of the pool. The other side was just normal, like, wall with
Yeah.
an open area for swimming.
Cool.
My friends and I, we were hanging out that day, and we noticed that there's an abundance of females. So there's a lot more female bodies in the water. And they're all, like, wearing some form of bikini, with a couple of them wearing a one-piece suit. And then we noticed that there's this one older gentleman on the wall, and he's kind of literally bobbing up and down.
Oh boy.
Like, he's
It's
just
Quagmire.
continuously bobbing up and down. So a couple of us have our goggles, so we each kind of dived down, playfully, you know, going for tag, and we kind of glance in his direction to kind of figure out where he's staring at. Because in that pool, you don't typically just bob up and down for no reason. We noticed that his line of sight is directly toward the bottoms of only females in the pool. And this wasn't a one-time thing. We had regularly, like, we didn't want to assume anything, so we literally, like, double-checked every 2 or so minutes. And it was several of us checking, and
That
we
is
each kept
creepy.
seeing the same exact thing. He was staring at the bottoms of female swimmers.
Wow. Okay.
And he's not like this young adult either. He's like an older gentleman.
Oh no. Alert. Predator alert. Predator alert.
So we were like, the group was half guys, half girls, and we all kind of agreed, let's just go into the other pool.
Wise decision. So, do we have comments in the?
We do.
All right. Who we got?
We've got Kyle, who rates this at a 2 because people watching me in the bathroom, change of clothes, etc. It's a horrible violation of privacy and affront to basic rights, not creepy. And then Host doesn't exactly give a ranking, but it's kind of a funny comment. It's their problem if they want to look at this bod.
Okay.
But I do have the second story about surveillance if you want to hear about it.
You know, I want to hear about it, but I don't think there's time.
Sure. Alright. So hopefully that gave enough time. Let's go for the next note.
All right. Yeah. Question 5.
Bum ba da dum.
All right, you find yourself in a really old building. With every step, the floor creaks. The light from the outside casts shadows on everything inside. You have the feeling that a lot of stuff happened here. A lot of creepy stuff, perhaps.
Add the word creep.
Yeah, I know. So, what's the score, Jen?
Honestly, I'm gonna give it only a 2.
A 2, okay. Aaron.
I think that I would say 3.5.
3.5, okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
Rose?
I'm gonna give it also 2, to be honest.
I'm gonna give it a 1.
Alright.
You know what? No, 1.5. 1.5.
Okay.
And you know what? I'm gonna start this one.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that it's a 1.5, and only because, to me, buildings can be mildly creepy. However, I don't think it's that creepy. I mean, I kind of think it's kind of cool. You know, old house, kind of neat. I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. So, then again, I like old Victorian manor kind of like houses. Like those are kind of cool.
Hmm.
So it's up my alley. So, Rose, what are your thoughts?
Sure. So for me, it's not too overtly creepy because if I'm in a really old building and everything's like covered in shadows and the floor creaks, it kind of just feels like it's supposed to be like frightening to me. It's not really creepy. It's kind of the feeling I get with a haunted house.
Okay.
I don't like them, but it's kind of the feeling I'd expect. So if it was perfectly normal, that's just a pleasant surprise.
That's like when suddenly like a wolf howl comes out of nowhere, thunder cracks across the sky.
That'd be kind of creepy if
illuminates
like
the house.
yeah, if stuff like that happened, like the wolf howling, that's a little like spooky, not really creepy. But if the sky was clear and all of a sudden like lightning struck, it's like okay, that's a little.
You're like, there's some bad vibes here. There's some bad vibes.
If it was stormy weather, I don't think I'd even consider going near the house to begin with.
The whole house might blow
Because
down.
if it's a really old building, if it starts storming, who knows what kind of damage, and I don't want to be in there if it starts collapsing on my face.
Yeah, that is fair.
But the reason it's like slightly creepy is just because if there's any like attachments to it, such as the supernatural or the paranormal,
Sure. Yeah.
or if somebody got murdered in the household,
Murder house.
murder home.
Earth Street
So,
or whatever the street is.
So Jen, go ahead.
Oh, of course. I gave it a 2 because it's just kind of standard creepy, like what you would expect in a horror movie, but it's really not that creepy because most old buildings do have floor creaking and, it's like the light from outside casting shadows, like, yeah, that's creepy, but it's also super normal. Like, that happens in my house and it's not that old. But yeah, it's. I mean, if it's an old building too, of course, a lot of stuff has happened.
Let me ask you this. Will it change your score? Is if you walk into a door, right, and you open up a door, and then when you open the door, another door across the way closes, with no one there, because the wind, pressure. With the air pressure. But like, would that add something creepy to it?
I mean, it would be one of those momentary spikes of creepiness, but it wouldn't really change the overall creepy factor of it.
Would it
so
make you jump?
Oh, like 10 out of 10. If I was if I wasn't expecting it, of course it would make me jump.
I would piss myself and be honest. Oh God! I smell a leak.
But it's actually really normal for old buildings to creak, and in fact, some buildings were even designed to creak. Like, I don't know, the Shogun's Palace. That was explicitly designed to creak so that if assassins tried to come in to kill the Shogun, they would be able to hear them before they got there. So, like, I don't think that would be the reason why an old building creaks, but, like, just as an example, like, creaky buildings are not uncommon. It's also partially, like, old buildings have different structural designs to them, especially, like, modern day build,
Yeah,
like
comparing
modern
brick
day
to wood.
building.
Like,
Yeah.
You're gonna have different. Yeah, totally.
Exactly. So it's not super. It's honestly, 2 is kind of stretching it even because if it's an old building, it's kind of expected.
Okay. All right,
Yes.
Aaron. Aaron, where are you at on this?
Yeah, so I give it 3.5 just because, like, I've always, I don't know, I've always been kind of creeped out about those kind of things. It's not necessarily an irrational fear because I think it stems from, like, a previous experience that I had, but I can basically, I would imagine myself in that situation, and I know that in the back of my head, I would be thinking that something is going to happen, or whatever, and that's the thing that would creep me out.
Gotcha. You're like, I don't want to die. This is how I die. All right,
That is
so
a fair assessment, though, because I mean, most horror films, most creepy horror, supernatural films do kind of associate the creepy with the creaking.
that's
Well,
true. That's true.
Fair,
Yeah.
fair, fair.
And I
it's
want
not-
Well, sorry.
I was gonna say, for me, it's not even about like that. It's more the fact, like I said, something, it's based off of a previous experience, so it's only creepy because something has kind of happened to me in a situation like that before.
Yeah.
That's
So
fair.
that's why it would be creepy.
That is a fair.
I also want to address. I believe it was who was the one who asked? It was Kyle. Yeah, who asked the difference between scary and creepy.
Yeah, there is a difference
yeah,
between scary and creepy.
The difference between scary and creepy, it has to do with the way in which you relate to it emotionally. So scary is something that you approach logically. It's something that you can think through, and it's just something that actively terrifies you. Creepy is like a response to a cringy or disgusting kind of like thing, and it is borderline between this, but more often than not, creepy would be associated more with that whole like a form of disgust or like odd emotional twitch that has an inexplicable response, not something that deeply terrifies you. That's different.
Yep. And that's exactly why I give my score like that, because I can associate something with it.
Okay. I can see where Aaron's coming from because it's like I can absolutely agree with them. Like the creepy, I'd expect the level of creepy. How scared I'd be, oh, absolute 5. We're not rating this on how scared,
No.
how much of a scaredy pants I'd be.
If it were to be like a scared, I would say majority of this would be like high numbers for me. I think the only thing that wouldn't be scared is probably the person stroking my arm at this point, and only because I would have Indiana Jones punched the shit out of that person.
Sorry, as soon as you mentioned like stroking the arms, I immediately imagine like those James Bond villains just like stroking their evil cats.
Ooh,
Ooh, if somebody did that to my arm though.
Yeah, well, that'd be rough.
I'm just an anxious person, so like, I get scared easily.
So we cover everybody, or did I miss somebody? I feel like I missed you, Rose. Did I miss
No, you got me first.
Okay, I got you first. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then Kyle. Okay, anything crawling on the walls or slithering into a container is creepy to me.
Okay, but not a question.
Yeah, okay, spiders do creep me out. So.
But not a question talked about. So let's move on.
All right. Let's see. Bum ba da dum ba da la.
Okay, all right. So, question 6: When a friend steals a French fry from you and gives you a long, deep, penetrating look,
Oh, I can open the floor with this one.
what's your score?
That's a fat 1.
A 1. Okay, all right.
I thought that was gonna be a different number.
Aaron,
I'm gonna go against the grain here. I'm gonna give it a 0.
it's not a 0. It's gotta be a 1 through 5.
Okay, fine.
Okay, I was gonna say, can it go to a 0?
I'll give it a 1.1.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. 1.1. It's
Now you're
fine.
really going against the grain.
All right. So, Ann,
How much do I want to troll here?
you don't want to troll?
Fine. We'll make it a 1.1 sandwich.
Okay, and I will go ahead and score a 2.7777.
When you said I couldn't troll.
Hey, I didn't say that like I was gonna troll. That's not a troll answer. That's a real answer. There's a reason behind it. Why did you just do it for no reason? Really? 1.01?
Yes, so we have a 1, we have a 1.1, and
LOL.
now we have a 1.01. Thank you
Alright,
very
yeah,
much.
it's literally LOL.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Alright, so I'm gonna start off with mine. I'm just gonna start off with mine, you know? Here's the thing. It's 2.777 because it should be a 3, depending upon who gives the look, right? Now I want you to imagine this for a second. Let's say like it's somebody you don't fucking know, comes up to the table, sits down across from you, steals a French fry, and slowly eats it in front of you while
Hey,
looking at
hold on.
you.
I'm sorry, but I gotta interrupt you. The question clearly states a friend.
Okay, maybe also, maybe they are a friend. Everyone's
But
a friend.
You said you didn't. No. That doesn't work.
Okay, fine. A friend that you haven't seen in a very long time and is not somebody that you find attractive or like, you know, or your
hold on.
preferred gender, and they sit down in front of you, do something absurdly gross, and steal a French fry and slowly eat it while looking at you.
See, hold on. You're adding things, man. It just said they stole a French fry and then takes a long, deep look at
Yeah,
you.
but, like,
There's no something gross. There's
Okay,
nothing
I just want
about.
to say this right now. Okay, here's what I'm saying. I'm gonna jump to the worst case scenario. All right, that's where I land. I'm gonna assume worst case scenario.
Okay, buddy.
Honestly,
Whatever.
I
Go
can
for it.
jump in with my
Go for it. Go for it.
Yeah, I rated it a 1 because I do this. I feel like when I do this, I do it more. I don't do it to be creepy. I just do it as like a silent question of, is this okay? I mean, I still do it though. I still do it. I I slowly reach for people's food to give them time to say no, and I look them dead in the eye like, you see what I'm doing here, right? You have your opportunity to tell me no. So it's really creepy to me because I do this.
Okay, so you're saying that like because you do this, it's not creepy. Okay, let's flip the roles for a second here. Okay, let's say that like it's a friend you hate. Like we all have friends we hate. Friend you hate.
Like permanently or temporarily?
Like a friend that has pissed you off to no end. Okay, has aggravated you to the point of physical violence. Does this to you? Okay, like
To the wrong person with that statement then, because I'm a pacifist.
okay, all right. Let's assume for a
I
second.
chew my parents out for killing a spider, even if it's the size of my pinky nail. Like,
Okay, all right. You know what? I could go down this road, but I don't want to take too much more time on this. All right. I believe we have. I believe Aaron, you haven't said anything yet.
No, not really.
Go for it.
Yeah, so the reason why I give 1.1 is because if one of my friends were to do that, it would remind me of a begging animal going, "Can I have your French fry?" And to be honest, it's not really creepy, it's more sad.
So let me get this straight. Like instead of being like, you know, here's your French fry, it's no big deal. You're like, I pity you.
Yeah, because they didn't just ask me for a French fry. They had to sit there and stare at me and be, you know,
With the
just
puppy
like-
dog eyes?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, that's so much worse. In
as
so
someone
many
who does
ways.
this, sometimes it's just you don't want to ask every time.
Okay,
Yeah, well.
why is it so? Why can't you buy your own French fries? Like why is this a repeat
The whole thing of
happening?
dang French
See-
fries.
Well, hold on here, because see, for me, if you're my friend, then you would know me and you'd realize that I don't mind sharing. So the fact that you had to sit there and stare at me, that's why I would
That's
think
true.
it's sad, because it's like,
I stole French fries from you. I know.
yeah.
Once I get to know you, I would know not to just look at you. It's the first couple of times that I do it, and then eventually if you're like, just take it, stop asking.
You're like,
It's
I'm testing the
okay.
water. I'm just, you know, I'm tipping the toes
Yeah,
in.
see?
Just
See?
kind of looking.
That's exactly why I associate it to a begging animal. That's like literally what it is. That's
Just a
literally what it
whimpering
is.
puppy.
Oh man, wow, that's I mean that's funny, but
No, that
also
killed my
kind of
throat.
fucked up at the same time. It's like you know, you don't look at your friends as Begging out. God, that's horrible.
Well, if you're gonna act like.
I just thought of something like there's a friend I know that's called. Okay, all right. We're not going
Aaron's
down
like,
that road.
well, if the shoe fits.
Okay. So I believe
My
Rose.
turn?
Yes.
Yeah. So the reason I don't find it creepy is because I've had this done to me and I've done it myself.
Shocking. I wonder who was the victim of this particular thing.
Oh, you and several other people.
Oh, I'm aware of this. Like, there's probably like a list, hundreds, if not thousands, of names long.
Two of
But-
those names are in this entire conversation.
Okay.
But yeah, when I've done it to people, it's kind of a. If they're a very, very good friend of mine, it's a kind of like a stare of what you gonna do about it. I just took your food. Specifically, I just took your French fry. I took your potato.
Oh my
But
God.
then
I
when somebody
can
does
do
it to me,
nothing.
and then when
There's
somebody
no
did it to me,
at that point.
essentially, I just returned the stare, reached over, and took a French fry myself. It's like, you take one of mine, I'm taking one of yours. You thought you could challenge me for food?
Two just to be spiteful.
Oh, I have absolutely.
God.
It's like, you
Of course
took my
you have.
food, I will steal. This is war.
All
Bunnies
right.
hold grudges.
So, who we got in the chat? I'm sure we have a message or two in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
man.
host, that ain't creepy. That's Tuesday.
Wow. Okay. You have a fucked up Tuesday.
I like that answer.
French fry, -10. I would find that borderline romantic.
Fair.
My creepy
Dear
meter
God.
is as off as my romance meter. Still romantic, just not a great romantic comedy. A friends you hate because they steal your flies?
You know, I
That
feel
had
like,
to be
No,
the
hold
Justin's
on.
comment.
Listen to this now. Justin doesn't share food. I buy her
Not
food,
even if I
booties
ask
for me.
politely? Not even if I ask super politely.
I mean, there are exceptions. Pretty girls definitely get exceptions, but like that's where I draw the line. Okay, like
I can dress up as a pretty girl if you want.
fuck you. No, I don't care. No, that's not happening. Oh no, I'll see the Adam's apple. I'll fucking know, man. If I see a turtleneck, you're fucking getting shoved to the side.
Oh,
I
but
can
if I
lend
don't
you a-
have a turtleneck, then you're embracing me. All
I
right,
know.
got
I
it.
said if I see an
I can
Adam's
lend
apple,
you-
no.
I can lend you a few skirts if you want to try it out.
Holy shit! Do not enable this man.
Let's go. People can wear whatever the
My
hell they
middle
want.
name is Enable.
Whoa!
Well, actually, if we want to get technical,
No,
I mean,
stop that! Enough! No more! Bring it down the hammer, we're saying moving on to the next thing, unless someone has something else to say. No one's
It's just
revealing
about the
secrets.
jokes. It's just about the jokes.
Okay.
Joke's on you. I'm into that stuff too, host.
Oh, golly.
joke's on you. I'm into that.
Oh, my God. So, question 7. Alright, question 7. Okay, let's settle down. Alright, question 7 is, a person has a... Okay, you got the giggles out yet?
No.
We're good.
Alright, let's shake loose. Okay. Full figure or something, Jesus. Alright, so question 7. A person has a shrine dedicated to a person who is not a family member or celebrity. Like that makes it any bigger. There are pictures, clippings, and detailed lists of the person's daily schedule down to the minute. Creepy or not creepy? Aaron?
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead. I think this is gonna be my first high answer, and I'll go ahead and say 5.
Alright.
Alright, Jen?
I'm gonna match that and say 5 as well.
Okay. Rose?
Glad we're on a scale, otherwise it'd be absolutely 10.
Okay. I'm gonna go with 4.7.
Just to be the different one.
No, it's not to be different. There's a legit reason, and it's kind of funny. And you know what? I'm just gonna go first. I'm gonna tell you why it's funny.
Okay.
All right. So a person has a shrine dedicated to a person who's not a family member or celebrity, right? That's endearing. That's kind of like, you know, that's important. You know, I would say that's, you know, borderline romantic. I'm sure, you know, host probably, you know, is in the same camp as me to some extent. The part that goes in the creepy direction.
Wrong person.
No, not host. Was it Kyle?
Kyle.
Kyle. Okay, same direction as Kyle. And but the part that's weird is the pictures, as I don't take pictures. So like, how did you fucking get them? Like that's pretty bad.
Paparazzi.
The clippings. It's like I haven't done anything that warrants clippings really. I mean, other than like cause some significant property damage once. Like that's. Like I don't think that like there's like that many clippings out there for you to really get. And then the detailed list of my personal daily schedule. It's like, I mean, like there's already people out there who have that. There are people who write that for me. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Yeah. How does the people get that information? Somebody's sharing secrets.
Cocker. What?
But oh wow,
No, there's
enabling
just
people out there. So that's why I say 4.7, because I'm like, parts of it are endearing, other parts are extremely weird, and other parts are actually very verifiable creepy. But the thing that is the cherry on top for this for me is, who the fuck cares that much about me? I'm nobody.
Jesus, that's a can of worms that we don't need to open on this show right now.
Wow. Okay. See, as I point proven. Moving on to Aaron.
Yeah,
Why
so
5?
I'm pretty much saying 5 because to me, it's not even necessarily that they have all of it that's the creepy part.
Mhm.
The part that's creepy to me would be the fact that I don't understand the motivation behind why they have all of it. So, like, it could be for some nefarious reason that only benefits them, or it could be for, like, I really don't know how a beneficial reason could be for a shrine, but you know what I mean? Like, there could be some actual reason that isn't, like, malicious. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
well, let's pick this apart for a quick second. In what way do you think shrines are used?
Well, that's the thing. Shrines can be for whatever reason they want. It could be for worship. They could have just made it because they wanted to. You know, that's why I'm saying it really depends on the reasoning behind it. Because
Okay.
if they made a shrine just because they saw a random person and they're like, okay, I picked that random person, I'm gonna learn everything about them, make the shrine, and then whatever. Like, I mean, to me, that'd be kind of weird, but then I'd be like, all right, whatever, you know.
All right.
But if they're doing it because they wanted to stalk me and because they had some like weird feelings for me, that's the part where it'd be weird.
Okay.
And that's why it'd be creepy to me. Like, the creepy part is the not knowing.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. I want to actually go to Rose with this one. Why 5?
Okay. So for the 5 for me, it just sounds like a very, very potential to be demented, like putting somebody up on a pedestal type of scenario.
Okay.
Like, I don't really like the idea of putting people on pedestals because, pedestals fall all the time. The pictures, clippings, and the detailed list of the person's daily schedule down to the minute. Yeah, that's kind of creepy, especially if you're, like, not the person's personal assistant for whatever reason. Like, it's one thing if a friend, asks you to create a schedule for them because they're terrible at time management or for some other reason.
Yeah.
But, like,
Some other
if they
reason.
didn't give you that information personally, it's, like, extra creepy. Because it's like, again, how did they get that information if it wasn't from you? Like, did they interrogate out of the person who did know? And then with the shrine, for me, that's like a cultural thing because I'm used to shrines being for like prayer or for the dead. So the fact that it's not for like a family member or celebrity, granted, even if it was a celebrity,
Hey,
it'd still be kind of creepy.
Sorry to interrupt you here.
Yeah, go
but
for it.
I have to tell you that I need to be right back.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. But yeah, it's like even if it was a celebrity, I think I'd still kind of get creeped out because it's like they have to deal with a lot of fans. Some of them a little more extreme than the rest.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So,
Jen, what? Why 5?
Because one word, stalker. Like
Stalker.
the fact, like if okay, it's one thing if it's a family member or celebrity. That's just being like that is like celebrity that's not too out of the norm. There are a lot of people who like their bedrooms are shrines to like I know plenty of teenage girls back when I was growing up who had their walls decorated with One Direction everywhere.
Oh dear God.
So it's not uncommon for celebrities, especially depending on the celebrity, to have shrines dedicated to them, depending on their popularity. And family members, that's more helicopter kind of family member sort of feeling to me rather than stalkerish. But it's the fact that it's not a family member and not a celebrity that it makes me like it. It wouldn't be so creepy if it weren't for the schedule. Like, why? minute-to-minute schedule, unless you are stalking them. That is legitimate.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna stop you.
Such a red flag for a stalker. I'm just saying.
Hold on a second. What? Listen, is there any situation that you could possibly think of where a minute-to-minute schedule is not stalking?
That is a guy who has a routine down to the minute. Goodness gracious. Like, if you can manage your schedule to be exact, minute to minute, where can I pocket that kind of grit? Like, I kind of need that.
Not. So, so I can't say no because there is one situation where I've had someone's calendar shared with me before, but that's not the same. Like, I'm not counting that because that's not, like, that's an exception that is...
It was like, also given to you, so.
Yeah, they shared it with me. So it's like, it's different. This is pictures, clippings, and a detailed list of the person's daily schedule down to the minute. It isn't a family member or a celebrity. Like, I mean... general schedule I can understand. If you're like, if you live with roommates in a dangerous part of the city, it's important to know, like, oh, if you're walking back, like, I'm going to be living near my school campus soon and it's not in the safest part of town, so it's important to know that, oh, my roommates are going to be getting out of class at like 6 o'clock. Well, if they don't get back by 6:30, it's good to know, but it's not a minute-by-minute schedule. It's just like a general schedule. Sure. So there's a difference between a general schedule and a minute-by-minute schedule. Like, it's when it gets down to the fine-tuned minutes that it starts getting exceptionally creepy for me. And
you can pop it up to like 100 if you include the fact that the minute-to-minute is including like personal crap.
Okay, here's the thing. All right, so the shrine part doesn't seem to be that big of a hurdle for you, though. You kind of wave it off like, oh, that's not a big deal, because like, you know, millions of girls who have a One Direction poster, like, that's not a shrine though. You know, like, that's like just like, that's a fan. That's like,
your bedroom can be your shrine. Is the thing.
I would say that, like, when I think shrine, I think that it has to be a little bit more detailed than just some posters on a wall or in a room.
See, but here's the thing.
I mean, like,
not everyone has a designated spot, like, let's say, a table or a legitimate shrine to dedicate worship to. If you were to go in the typical, like, shrine is used for worship, like, not everyone has a space that they can dedicate to a shrine. So,
okay, but, like, here's the thing I'm saying. It's like this, okay?
I'm back.
All right.
Hello.
Welcome back. When it comes to the thing, I think that, like, when I say shrine, like, why I'm saying this is, like, I know of, like, examples where you could have a shrine that's, you know, no bigger than a small box. And you can't tell me you can't put a small box somewhere in a room. Like,
yo, I'm sorry, but when it says that you have pictures, clippings, and a detailed list of a person's daily schedule down to the minute, that's a little, that feels like a little more than just a box.
Well, here's what I'm saying is that nowhere in there does it say that it's in the shrine.
So what's the point of having a shrine dedicated to a person?
That's why I'm asking, is it creepy? That's the whole thing I'm trying to get at with your question. Why is that part creepy to you?
Okay. Let me put it this way. I'm just going based off of the pictures, clippings, and schedule.
Okay, so you're basing the 5 entirely off that and not the actual shrine itself.
If you want me to include the shrine, that would bump it to a 10.
Oh my god. Okay, all right. Well, let's with that, I think we've kind of addressed everybody. Let's take a look at the chat. Is there anything in the chat?
Let's see. Yandere Simulator 2077 by host, who is agreed by Code Blue Ninja. Hey, it's good to see you. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Agreed by Kyle. Kyle also adds religious purposes. A person could have a shrine to Pope Francis. If a person had a shrine to me, I would convert them to Buddhism.
Okay. Good for you, Kyle. You know what? You have now found an inside, you've found a new game. I intend on asking other questions in the future.
But yeah, those are the comments so far. Oh my goodness.
All right, so let's just move on to, let's clear the board and let's move on to question 8. All right. Seeing a stranger continually eye someone up and down for an extremely long period of time, before finally approaching and getting up close and personal, before asking for some very extremely personal information. And, thing that you should probably understand about this, just a heads up for the explanation, this is you observing another person interacting with another person. So there are 3 people in total in this particular thing. This starting.
So you're the observer.
Yes, you are the observer observing these particular situations. So, with that,
Ooh.
Rose, what do you score?
I'd say this is a 2.5.
Okay. Mine's a 1.
Yeah.
And, Aaron, what do you got?
I'd just say 2.
2? Okay. Jen?
I'm going to say 1.5.
1.5. Okay. All right. Okay.
Didn't see that one coming, did you?
No, I did not see it coming. All right. So, you know what? We're going to go. Really? Okay. I guess, you know what? We're going to start with Rose. Why 2.5?
Sure. So this one's just a standard because it can go up and down depending on the situation.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of factors involved, including like how they're eyeing someone up and down. Is it more like leering, looking up and down, versus like information gathering up and down, versus like, am I gonna kill you up and down?
Oh, okay. Like, so in what way?
That's
What
very
way is it? Yeah. Like, okay. So killing, clearly, I'm assuming the score would go up. Would that be fair to say?
That's not creepy. I need to call the police.
Okay. So what would cause the score to go up if, depending on the 3 scenarios you've outlined?
If we're going for creepy, it would probably be the leering.
Okay. So,
Like, you can imagine, like, the leering up and down, the stereotypical, like, licking their lips. Ugh.
Wow. Okay.
Like I said, the stereotypical.
Yeah. Okay. Clearly.
And then, like, the getting up close and personal,
Yeah.
that's unfortunately a normal for a lot of
Oh
scenarios.
dear God. Also, really.
Especially if it's at a bar.
Okay, I
for
gotta say
instance.
this. I gotta say this now. All right, Jen, I need you to. I know normally I wouldn't do this, but I don't want you to say your bit. But I want to confirm: is this something that you also experience as you are also a woman?
Not that I've noticed.
Okay, all right, that's fair. Okay, good. All right, so we have 2 different sides. Okay, good. Okay.
So, the thing is about the extremely personal information, it also depends on the questions. Like, is it the standard trying to get to know you or trying to get in your pants questions? Or is it like, is it borderline psychopathic?
Okay, you gotta define it. What is the psychopathic personal questions?
Blood type.
Whoa, hold on a second. A person comes up to you and you're not in Japan, and they're like, "Hey, what's your blood type?"
I mean, that'd be kind of weird.
Yeah, that'd be really weird. I'm not gonna say it's not, but I'm just like, oh, is it weird or creepy? I'm going on weird. I'm
There's
not
like
saying-
7
to
billion.
assume I know my blood type in the first place. Ha ha ha!
Or that's what you just make
Like
up.
7 billion people plus on this planet. There's gonna be some people that ask the really weird questions.
You know what I'm gonna say? That's a person who hasn't talked to women very much. That's I'm like that's.
So
is
yeah,
that
it
creepy,
can
or is it
absolutely
just-
go from like 2.5 up to straight 5, or like depending on the situation, just go to straight 1. So I'm just gonna keep it in the middle, just to be a plain basic bitch.
Okay. Okay, I don't condone your language, but hey, you know what? Do you?
So someone who
That's fair.
curses more than I do on this
Yeah,
show.
Hey, whoa,
So you
I don't.
don't-
But here's the thing, though. I first of all have the power to do so. Second of all, I'm an asshole who has no.
Wow, so
no
I don't have power to insult myself? How dare you?
I know, right? I'm removing authority. This is
How dare you?
How dare I? Oh God.
Good luck running the show without your tech producer.
That's a good point. I mean, I'm not gonna bow down to you, but help, please help.
Yeah, that's my explanation. It's. Some people are going to consider it flimsy, but that's what I think.
Okay, all right, flimsy it is. Jen, why 1.5?
Yeah, I don't know. It's I study, like, my major is communication
Okay.
in school. So, like, I study all different types of ways that people communicate, whether because they don't know what to say or whether because they have something that motivates what they're saying. And so, I mean, an uncomfortable question or personal information for one person may not be uncomfortable or personal for another.
Okay.
And a prime example is if I were to go up to, like, this is actually a really prime example of how communication can differ between just genders, is going up to a man, like a woman going up to a man and asking, do you have a tampon, versus going up to another woman and asking, do you have a tampon? Like, that may seem like an uncomfortable question.
The guy who says yes, I have serious questions.
You have my respect.
I actually have some serious respect for that guy, because for a guy to carry around a tampon, like, either A, they're doing it for their girlfriend, or B, they have been, like I have some serious respect for those guys, just saying, because those are the guys who come in clutch when you really need a tampon. But I digress.
All right,
So,
hold on.
like I'm
Before
saying.
you go into this, I just want to add this to the chat. In the history of life, in your experience, has this ever even sort of crossed a guy's mind to carry a tampon on their person? Seriously. Not joking,
The joys
actually
of
serious.
being a man.
Huh?
The joys of being a man and not having to deal with the period.
Yeah, gosh, we have so many things to, enjoy, especially, the loneliness.
Well, I would like to interject here.
Sure, go for it.
Okay. If you're a man and you have a girlfriend, then you're dealing with it too, so you should have one.
Okay, no, I'm not asking if you should have it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that.
I'm not. I wasn't.
I'm
really
asking.
answering that.
Hey,
Hey,
I'm asking if you. Okay, and also, all right, Mr. You should have it. Have you ever been in that situation?
yes.
And you had one.
Yeah. It was more the
Bullshit.
specific situation where
Bullshit.
I was getting some for my girlfriend
Oh,
because.
okay, that's different. Okay, you're in the.
Yeah, but
you're in
that's
the
what I'm
grocery
saying.
store.
If that's like, it's all, everything that makes something creepy or not for me
Mhm.
is all dependent upon motivation.
Okay,
Fair?
that's understandable. Okay, so I'm sorry for rudely interrupting your particular thing. Did you have anything more to add, Jen?
Oh, no, that was my spiel.
Okay, all right, Aaron. Walk
Yeah.
us through your spark.
So, pretty much like kind of going off the fact that I said it all depended on motivation.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if I just saw someone, staring at someone else and then talking to them and asking some strange questions, it might be a little creepy because you might not know why they're asking it necessarily. But generally speaking, if I'm the one watching, it's not really creepy to me because, like I've said before, if it's not really directly affecting me, it's less creepy. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So like if it was happening to me, I'd probably bump it up a little bit more just because I'm like, why are you talking to me? Like,
Sure.
why do you want to know all this stuff? But since it's someone else, this may sound a little mean, but I tend not to care.
No, it's fair.
Yeah. I mean, I
Some
gotta
people
say
just
that.
don't want to deal with drama.
Yeah, I gotta say that's exactly my sentiment why it's one. I actually like. I mean, if it's not for work-related stuff, if it's not for like a dear friend, I could give a fuck about anybody. I mean, to be honest, like I just don't care. I have so many other things to worry about in my life that if I see this, like, what am I gonna do? I mean, like, let's just say hypothetically, right? You're in a situation where you intervene and the guy actually turns out to be a fucking wacko. What if they're packing a weapon? You know, like what the fuck? I mean, like, honestly, to me, it's like, I mean, they're not doing anything to me, so I don't really care. I mean, and that's just the way it is for me. So, yeah.
Do the song "This Is America."
No, I don't. I wouldn't even give it that much effort.
Alright.
All right, so yeah, we'll move on to question 9, unless there's anything from the chat.
Just a mood from Nerd Safi. Hello!
Okay. So, question 9. We're getting close to the end of this, aren't we? There's like one more after this. Okay, so, question 9. An insanely large collection of dead things, like insects, bugs, or other things, does not mean just a regular collection. It could be an abundant collection, something vast, maybe glass, like something like, a bunch of different stuff, creepy crawlies and whatnot. And they are not for selling purposes or for museum collections. Creepy or not creepy? Score, Aaron. What's your score?
See, I don't know. I feel like this question is a little bit too wide. Because, like, this one is very, and I hate to keep going back to it, but it really is depending on what the situation is. So I'm just going to go ahead.
No, hold on. Before you say the score, I'll give you the situation. I will give you the situation so that way we have a clear definition, okay?
Yeah.
This is somebody's home, and in their home, they have a whole bunch of museum-grade collections of various dead insects like butterflies, moths, bees, various flies, and they're in glass cases pinned and are for collection purposes catalog, and is mostly stored in a den along the walls.
Okay, well, in that case, I'd put a 1.
Okay. Jen, what do you got?
I'd put a 2.
2? Okay.
My turn?
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it as a 1.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 5.
Right.
And I'm going first.
Okay.
I hate bees. I fucking hate bees. Bees suck. Fuck all bees. Flip the bird, double-handed.
Hey.
All fucking
Hey.
bees can go fuck themselves. Fucking hate bees.
Okay, then I guess the human race can just go fuck itself as well.
That's true.
Jesus
You know what?
Christ.
I'm gonna go with that. That is an irrelevant argument because I am happily, okay with eating wild stuff that's not pollinated or facilitated by bees. Yes, it does exist. Yes, it would affect the food, the current food chain, but it doesn't disrupt the entire thing. So fuck all bees.
Is it
Bees are
because
not
you
the
find
only-
them creepy, or is it just because you hate them?
No, I hate them because they're creepy and they all can kill me. So they're equal parts. They're equal parts. Fuck them all. That's
To be
All
fair,
right.
look, to be fair, it is, basically the definition of being creepy. So his reaction kind of is to be expected.
why would you want to have evidence of these horrible things in the world? No. Anyways, okay. So you know what? We're gonna go with Rose. Why 1.5?
So the whole insanely large collection, it's just a thing that people do sometimes. When I think about it, it's it's a passion thing. People.
Passion for bugs.
Sometimes a lot of those bugs can look pretty. Have you seen some of the moths?
Oh my god, butterflies and moths are so cool.
Dude, especially the poodle moth. Oh my god, that's fluffy.
Oh my
Anyway, so people can be very passionate about these things, which is why I don't find it creepy. And especially since it's organized, like you mentioned, it's not like hoarder, which would probably put it up to scale because it's that's just a horrible living situation right there. Kind of creepy. That just if it was disorganized and you had that big of a collection, it's just what type of legitimate death pile did you live in? The only reason, if it's this organized, the only reason I would kind of find it creepy is just because I get the creepy crawlies from a lot of bugs.
Oof.
Like centipedes and millipedes.
Yeah. No.
Like, they kind of creep me out, only because I don't like the fact, like, caterpillars, they are cute, but they do still creep me out, despite the fact that they can be cute. Because, like, what type of creature needs that many legs?
I don't trust it. I don't trust it at all.
Has as many legs as it has souls.
You don't know that. You do not know that. That is.
So it's like, it's not creepy because of the collection thing. It's creepy because there are some bugs that I will always consider creepy.
Okay.
Fair.
So, Aaron.
Yeah, so I don't think it's creepy at all. Like, even in the slightest. If I could give, like, a negative score, I would. Like, it's just bugs. I mean, like, yeah, I don't like some bugs, but that's not really going to affect my creepiness because, like, yeah, I'm in their house, but I don't have to be in their house.
It's called, you can leave and walk out the door.
Yeah, I can leave and they can be left to their own devices and it's not really hurting anyone, so I don't care.
You can hang out somewhere else.
Okay. All right. Well, Jen, where are you? Where are you at with this?
Well, I put a 2 because, like, yeah, there is a certain creepy factor to bugs because I get the creepy crawlies, but, I mean, everyone can collect their own thing. It's not my cup of tea, but to each their own.
I collect containers.
So you just get this straight. So Halson. So like, all right, just to be, not to be too
Collect
nitpicky here.
gemstones.
Not to be too nitpicky here, but so the whole reason why is because they're enabled to do what they want. That's why it's okay. That's why it's not creepy.
I mean,
Is there anything that you could think of that we collected that would be like that's creepy? Like
the only reason I'd say that it, like, the only thing that would make it creepy is if you intentionally go out and murder those bugs, but if you find them yourself and they're, like, that's where it kind of gets a little creepy, but that's more like someone's going out and killing living creatures, kind of creepy.
Okay, so let me get this straight. So like, you know, in Ace Ventura 2, you know, where Jim Carrey's character, you know, goes into this room, he goes, oh, "That's a lovely room of death you have here." You know, like that's you know, you see that, you're like, yeah, he's good at collecting things because he didn't kill him.
I mean, who am I to judge?
Ah, okay. I see.
Also, to be fair, death is a part of life, so doesn't necessarily have to creep you out.
Okay, all right.
It's more of the what is being collected that creeps me out. Like if it's bugs, but that's just because it's like bugs creep me out, not so much the collecting.
Why did I have that thought? Goodness gracious, that's a bad thought.
Oh dear God, we're not going there. Is there any comments from the chat?
La 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 la. The large Okay, from Kyle. The large collection of dead things, not creepy, could be a taxidermist who likes this work as a hobby. No judgment, -50. And then a couple of comments about the whole hatred on bees thing.
Yeah, I'd say to all those people, do your research. Don't believe in the propaganda put forth that bees are necessary. Bees are not the only pollinators.
Hashtag take your own advice.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna stop that in its tracks real quick. Jesus. Oh, we could get into that for 5 hours and it wouldn't end.
Oh, I know we could.
No, they couldn't, because I wouldn't be there for 5 hours.
Yeah,
I'd be there for
it would end, but would it truly it would end the battle, but not the war?
Could does not mean will.
I don't think that there's a necessary for a war. There's a standpoint, and if two parties can't come to an understanding, then
It's called politics.
Politics.
the politics. Yeah, there you go.
I'm so proud of that one. Politics. 10 out of 10. I love that.
Oh, that's a good one. All right. So, you have a dream about getting into a car crash at a specific intersection or freeway. The next day, you happen to drive past the area that you dreamt about, and there's a car crash with the exact type of car. Creepy or not creepy? I don't know who wants to answer first.
I'll put my score down.
Okay.
2.
All right.
I guess I'll give my score.
Okay.
I'm gonna say upside down 3.
You actually made me debate that for like a hot second. Give it a 2 as well.
2.
All right. Ba-da-dum, ba-da-da.
Jen, go for it.
Why did you have to add that, Kyle?
I put a 2 because I've actually had dreams similar to this before. Not exactly with the car crash and everything, but like the day before Christmas, I had a dream that I got a DS Lite when I was like 11, 12 years old, and then I woke up the next day and I got the exact DS Lite color and everything, including games, and so it's just kind of like, I don't know. It's not really creepy for me because I've had kind of that clairvoyant dream. Like dreams are, I don't know. I find dreams to be very like spiritual. So sometimes it's just like, sometimes it's a sign. Sometimes it's also just like, yo, heads up, or yo, good to know. Sometimes it doesn't always mean something, but you know, dreams are wild. So it's not really creepy for me. More of like, I put it 2 because like it would be creepy in a sense of like paranoia creepy, not so much creepy as in like, oh my god, I had a dream about this creepy.
Okay.
Like, oh my god, is something gonna go wrong? But that's just paranoia.
Yeah. All right. So, Aaron, where you at?
Yeah. I gave it a 3 because I think that if I was actually able to predict something like this and it was to actually happen, then it would make it creepy and I'd be afraid to go to sleep. But if it didn't happen, then I would just think I was crazy and go, you know, lots of coincidences happen and there's nothing to worry about.
Rose?
It's not. Sorry, I was
sorry, no,
messing there.
finish.
I was gonna say it's not necessarily something that is really creepy per se, just simply based off the fact that there is a lot of coincidences in the world, and you know, you see cars and maybe your brain was like, okay, I'm thinking of that, and then you maybe had an interaction earlier in the day that you thought you were gonna get in a car crash, and it may have been with a similar car, and just because of coincidences, you know, all the things just melted together like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That'll be it.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, honestly, if you ask me, I mean, that's definitely something that I can understand. I knew somebody who also, well, I knew somebody who had a dream like this and had a similar response to you. So it's very realistic and understandable. So Rose, why 2?
Yeah. Why 2? So this really has been building up for the entirety of the thing after I set up everything today.
Uh-huh.
It's like the original scenario by itself is not creepy because I've had deja vu moments like this before. Maybe not with car crashes, but with like reading certain sentences of a book or having certain conversations. I've had a handful of deja vu moments there. And then I started kind of expanding it to not just like dreams about car crashes, but like any type of dream that like seemed realistic. Because it gets into the whole my paranoia about like, could I have changed something if it was something bad, like a car crash? Like if it actually did happen, was there a chance to even prevent it type of scenario? Which is kind of like the whole paranoia. It's like, could I have helped versus like, was it just going to happen no matter what the hell I did? And then moving away from the car crash dreams, like there are plenty of other realistic dreams out there. Some of them which turn into nightmares, which for some people is their reality. So it's like, if you could predict that, and this is some type of like precognition, deja vu, your dreams having a really wild night. Like, the only reason it's considered slightly creepy for me is because like some of those scenarios, which are just generally creepy, it's like, if they are real, especially if they're close by, it's like, is that going to happen? Is it going to happen to you? Is it going to happen to a friend? Like,
Honestly, when thinking about what you just said, like, I have to say that, like, it kind of puts into the question, does free will even exist? And I think,
Remember that question on a Q&A?
yeah, I mean, like, that's something I think I might even make an episode on. You know what? We're gonna make that an episode.
Fair.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when it comes to deja vu stuff, like, I mean, it could be. It totally could be. But it also might not be, too. So, like, I mean, like, I think, like, when it comes to this, like, there's no way to look at this particular question without, like, considering a couple different things. And depending, you have to kind of, like, weigh on yourself, like, how do you view dreams? Clearly, Jen, you have a spiritualistic point of view to it, right? That's clear, you admitted it and that sort of thing. And then, I think that, like, all of us probably has some element of that, but I think there's, like, also logic. And, like, with Aaron, it's kind of like, he kind of, like, shrug it off and, like, tell himself he's okay. To me, that's why I kind of rate things at 2. Because to me, like, I live in a city with, like, 500,000 people. There are probably at least, a couple hundred people who drive a car like mine. And I know that thousands of people drive the route I drive every day. So it's like the odds of it happening are strong enough for it to be a coincidence, but not more than that, at least to me. And I think the creepiness element is just the coincidence of it all. Like, oh, that could have been me. But, that's at least my idea on it. And why I scored a 2. It's like that. It's like borderline. It's like on the fringe. It's like, it's not that it's not creepy. It's just not. It's not so creepy that it, like, warrants a number beyond it.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any comments from the?
We do. We have
Okay.
a comment from a name I do not recognize, actually.
Okay.
We have one from Jonathan Cocker. I apologize if I mispronounced that. Dreams sometimes predict the future because your mind takes the stimuli of day-to-day stuff and tries to create scenarios that could happen. The technical wording for this is déjà vu.
Deja rêve.
Okay.
Had to quickly take a pause because I was probably going to pronounce that wrong. I probably still pronounce that wrong.
I
That's
think it's
French.
kind of. Sorry.
It's fine.
I was gonna say I think that's kind of what I was saying. Like I didn't necessarily know there's a technical term for it, but like, I mean, I kind of chalked it up to coincidence. But how I was saying that you saw a car earlier in the day and maybe you had some kind of situation where it's similar to that, and it kind of associated that during a dream, and then since there is a whole bunch of coincidences in the world, it may have just happened like that.
Honestly, we're going to be talking about dreams in the near future. And when we talk about dreams, I'll go into a little bit more about this, but to briefly touch on it just in a quick second, Jonathan's statement about it basically being the mind's way of compiling all the events of the day is true. I think the prediction part of that particular statement, I'm not entirely sure of where he's going 100% of that, but I think prediction is kind of the strong term to use when it comes to something like that. It's more like the mind runs through all the activities of the day and compiles them into a series of what-if scenarios, and you can think of it kind of like you're test driving out all the possible scenarios as you're going to sleep. And that's kind of how dreams are kind of explained in some circles. And when we do discuss dreams, I'll go into more on stuff like that. But that is for another episode. Guys, thank you for being guests on the show. Aaron, Jen, you're wonderful.
Yep.
I hope you
No
guys had a good time with this particular thing.
yeah.
Rose, excellent job helping me once again. Couldn't do the show without you.
Happy it's working out.
Yeah. Are there any last minute thoughts on the episode before we go and close?
Next council isn't going to be so creepy, is it?
No, the next council will be discussing how equipped are men and women at being able to understand each other and their problems.
Oh, that's a
Not at
cluster
all.
fire.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. We're gonna be probably doing it in probably a couple of weeks, so we'll have to see whose schedules align and who can get online and talk. So If you like the episode, please comment, subscribe, like, do all that fun, jazzy, fun stuff. You know, we appreciate
Please
it.
give us feedback. We'd love the constructive criticism.
Yeah, you can reach us. You can email us any questions, thoughts, opinions, anything you'd like to see in the future at awickedparley@gmail.com. And don't forget, Sunday, tomorrow, we're going to be doing our first live stream where we're going to be playing some Jackbox. Hopefully, you guys can all join us there. It'll be a good time. It'll be starting at 7 p.m.
7 p.m. Pacific.
Pacific Standard. So, with that, once again, thank you, and we'll see you guys all in the next one. Have a good night, guys.
Au
Yep.
revoir.